Behind me is a lightsaber in a box that can slice through blast doors faster than Qui-Gon Jinn on that one Trade Federation battleship. And we're gonna be using it to bring back the woolly mammoth from that one Ice Age movie. I think it's pretty cool. Here at my wheelchair factory, we mostly use this Laguna 400-watt laser to make wheelchair parts. But, you know, we do some fun things on the side. As we move forward from the prototyping stage of development into early production of the least expensive rigid wheelchair in the USA, we need larger and faster machines, which is why we bought a 4,000-watt Laguna Smart Shop fiber laser. And with recent events and the fact that I might be accidentally mistaken for the CEO of a healthcare company, I want to emphasize that I personally don't get paid and nobody makes custom-fit rigid wheelchairs cheaper than us. There are a few things I really don't like about this $500,000 machine, and I'll tell you as we bring back a woolly mammoth from extinction. The majority of time it'll be cutting out parts from aluminum tubes, but it also doubles as a flatbed laser with 2 interchangeable decks. The plate we're building our mammoth out of weighs about 1,300 pounds. These decks have metal points to elevate the material, while still allowing the laser to pass through while the material's getting cut. And you might be asking, hey Jerry, how exactly is a laser generated? And that's a fantastic question. Turns out the electricity from the grid flows into this black cabinet called a resonator. The black box has something inside called pumper diodes that excite ytterbium ions, spelled like this for some reason. Ytterbium is kind of like the kyber crystals of real life. There's a fiber optic cable running from the cabinet to the laser that's doped with ytterbium to generate the specific wavelength that can cut through metal and turn the windows of your soul into hard-boiled eggs if you look at it wrong. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of this laser, but I'm not quite as big a fan of the laser enclosure. There are some dangerous downsides that a lot of people don't know about lasers, most of which have to do with the box that we are now inside of. It is safe, for the most part, but not quite safe enough, and I'll explain. For this laser to cut through metal, it requires a super highly focused point of light. This beam of light liquefies and melts a very small area of metal, and then a large amount of compressed air blasts that molten metal out the backside of the cut, making a mighty fine, ultra-thin laser line. And all of this happens incredibly fast. Without that assist gas though, that puddle of melted metal wouldn't go anywhere, and nothing would get cut. The gas is important. We have 3 kinds of assist gases. Pure nitrogen, which is an inert gas that helps make super clean cuts. We also have pure oxygen, which adds energy into the laser and helps us get through thicker metals, but as a side effect sometimes makes a rougher cut. The third gas is just regular compressed air, like the air we breathe, which is a natural combination of both nitrogen and oxygen, and is pretty much free until someone figures out a way to charge for it. We started off with a baby laser about 2 years ago, back when we were in the prototyping stage of our wheelchair development. But as we move from prototyping into full production for our manual wheelchairs, we need a much bigger machine. We still keep the little guy around though to make our collector's coins. Only a few days left to snag the 2024 edition. I'll leave a link in the description. And it's not the laser doing the cutting that's making me nervous. It's the laser light that doesn't get absorbed by the metal that makes me nervous. In the same way sunlight can burn your skin, or how welding light can give you a sunburn, reflected laser light is just as, if not even more, dangerous, since it's far more potent and concentrated into a specific ray. The glowing molten metal isn't the part that would melt your maculas. Most of that light energy here has already been converted to heat and absorbed straight into the steel sheet. It's the reflected beams of light that aren't absorbed by the sheet that can bounce around and eradicate your eyeballs. And one glance at a bare laser might not instantly implode your irises. Think of it more like stormtroopers, right? 99% chance their shots are gonna miss, but there's always that one shot, that one chance of a perfect reflection of the laser off the metal sheet that could corrupt your corneas. And while this particular Laguna laser does have an enclosure, which does make it far safer than nothing at all, there are still a lot of openings and cracks in the doors or where light can reflect off the floor, and the more I learn about lasers, the more these cracks make me concerned. And it gets even more dangerous when we start to cut tube, and we have to open the front door of the laser while it's running. Got it. The reason we chose this particular machine is because it gives us two options. One, we can cut the 5x10 sheet on that end, or we can cut 20-foot sticks of tube on this end. The chuck on that end can grab the tube and sits on rails as it brings it up to the laser cutting head on this side. But one of the big problems we have is that when we're cutting tube, the door has to be open, exposing the laser beam to the outside air, which is extremely dangerous. And is not an ideal situation since we have other operations going around the factory at the exact same time. We do have these nifty green laser glasses, obviously, that do help protect the operators, but now that we are lasering out in the open, innocent bystanders might get a random ray to the retina, which isn't ideal. We have a large canvas welding sheet that does help close off the laser area, but we plan on building a much more secure enclosure for the tube cutting portion of the laser. But I feel like this is something that Laguna should have already thought of. Aluminum is quite a bit more reflective than steel, so it takes about twice the energy to slice through our tubes than it does that steel sheet. But the speed at which this Laguna laser can cut, cope, and drill all of the holes we need for our wheelchair frames, it's like having 3 machines in one. It costs pennies to run, is rather fun, but we aren't yet done with the woolly mammoth. Once the laser is done cutting the bones of our woolly mammoth, the sheet is transported out from inside the 95% safe laser enclosure, where we can wait for things to cool down outside. And then the struggle begins. I'm told the laser beam itself is about the thickness of a human hair, but as you can see, I don't have any way to verify that. Because of the extremely tight tolerances though, sometimes thicker metals we cut get a little stuck and need some persuasion to get removed. Oh yeah! With a dead blow, some rubber mallets, brute force, and a large magnet, we are able to make progress. The Laguna 4000 is a tool and a solid mid-level cost-effective production laser, and we've been using it for the past 6 months, and it definitely gets the job done. If the enclosure was a bit more light-proof, it would just be all that much more better. Our Paradox wheelchair project is a little weird in the way that we try to make these custom chairs as inexpensively as possible. No one beats our prices. And thanks to you watching this video right now, we've been able to purchase large tools like this while not having to pass the cost of the machines onto our customers. And this is also where Willie comes in. See, Willie is a really cool woolly mammoth. He's a bone puzzle lasered out of a super thin sheet of aluminum, and we sell Willie for 19 bucks. 100% of the money we make goes towards offsetting the cost of this machine and building wheelchairs cheaper for those who need them. With Willie, the really cool woolly mammoth, officially back from extinction, he makes a great present for birthdays or holidays.
650 pounds.
And if you add our previous puzzle, Alex the Accessible Allosaurus, into your cart at the same time when you go to check out, Alex becomes 50% off. The larger wheelie cool woolly mammoth is gonna stay here at the shop, and to be fair, he is life-size, but more of a toddler life-size. If this video gets more than 100,000 likes, we'll build a true adult version at 11 feet tall and donate it to a museum or something. Until then, if you or someone you know uses a wheelchair, our wheelchair configurator is live in the description and ready to go, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.